All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are diving into something absolutely epic.
At its peak, the Mughal Empire controlled nearly the entire Indian subcontinent, commanding over 100 million subjects and a treasury of staggering wealth. But the origin of this power sits thousands of miles away, in a single, isolated dot in Central Asia. This is where its founder, Babur, found himself at just 12 years old. He had inherited a kingdom, only to lose it almost immediately. He spent his adolescence as an exile in a violently contested region, constantly on the run from rival warlords who possessed more men, more gold, and more weapons. He lacked every traditional requirement for building an empire. He had no permanent home, no secure borders, and no established army. Losing everything at 12 forced Babur to improvise. He spent his youth learning how to survive against impossible odds, developing a highly unconventional approach to warfare. By age 22, a decade of surviving in the wilderness had hardened his leadership and turned his small group of followers into a disciplined tactical unit. This experience yielded his first major milestone, the conquest of the city of Kabul. Kabul functioned as a heavily fortified launchpad, pointing directly toward the Indian plains. Securing this stronghold proved his adaptive survival tactics could scale into military success, providing the necessary foothold for his ultimate ambition in the south. On April 21, 1526, a 37-year-old Babur finally reached his target, the heart of India. But he arrived to find a terrifying obstacle at Panipat, a massive, entrenched defensive line of armored cavalry. Babur's army was highly trained, but small, consisting of only 12,000 men. The Sultan of Delhi met him with 100,000 soldiers, outnumbering Babur's force 8-1. Traditional combat logic dictated that Babur should have been annihilated. To survive, he needed a radical shift in strategy. His solution started with early gunpowder technology. He deployed field cannons, using black powder to unleash a raw, disruptive force the region had never seen. The thunderous noise and destructive power of the artillery panicked the Sultan's horses and war elephants, turning the enemy's own animals against them. The second half of the solution relied on battlefield maneuvers he had perfected while hiding in the mountains. There, survival meant using the landscape to trap larger groups in narrow passes, tactics he was about to replicate on an open plain. Using mobile cavalry to sweep the flanks, Babur forced the Sultan's massive army into a tight, congested pocket, where numbers became a liability. Pinned from the sides and hammered by cannon fire, the enemy formation lost its structural integrity and collapsed inward. Babur neutralized the Sultan's massive numerical advantage by forcing the fight into a technological and strategic trap. The defeat at Panipat shattered the existing power structures in northern India in a single afternoon. The Mughal Empire began as the direct result of this victory, as Babur claimed the throne in Delhi. His descendants would rule for 3 centuries, leaving a lasting cultural imprint through the symmetrical red sandstone architecture that now defines the region. His rise shows how adaptability and technological innovation can overcome massive inherent starting advantages. This massive empire, which eventually spanned a continent, began with a 12-year-old exile who refused to accept defeat. What part of Babur's journey do you want to explore next? Tell us in the comments.